We have less than 48 hours until the NFL playoffs kick off. The Drafters $20 NFL Best Ball Championship for the playoffs is just a little bit over half full. So it's time to start firing into that contest to try to take down $50,000. Can we do it? I think so. Welcome in, everybody. It is time to start firing into a contest that I have not fired into yet. I've been firing into the $3. Decided today that with the potential overlay, it still needs 7,000 to fill in this Drafters $20 championship. As you can see, looking at the screen, there is 9,100 entrants. This fills at 16K, 16,700 to be exact. To be exact would be 16,752, but semantics there. So we're going to fire about 3 to 5 of these drafts tonight and get going on it. Let's just start firing now. And we would like to win all the money on this tournament. I'm going to put myself down here for now. We're going to get the music going. We are going to get these teams drafted. I've been firing the majority of my playoff best ball contest over on Drafters. I've been hitting that $3 one pretty hard. You also get tickets over on Drafters, and it's cumulative scoring, which is important to notate for those of you who have not played on Drafters yet. You do not have to advance. You just have to draft the best team, which is what some of us want to do all the time, is just draft the best team. We've got Wydad in here. I don't recognize anybody else, but we are ready to get drafting. You're going to see my ownership from the Spike Week tools for the $3 contest for this slate. Tons of Jalen Hurts. We have lots of Jalen Hurts. We think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, but we still attempt to draft all sorts of different teams. So the 4 spot is always an interesting click. We're going to have to see what is left for us. It might be Jalen Hurts again. It might not be. He might go with the 3. He sort of slides around the board in these. I can just hear the wind whipping outside. It has been so windy here. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's get some music going in the background. Let's start at the bottom of the playlist here. Where's the best place for me to be on the screen? Let's figure that out. Maybe up here? Maybe in the top corner is better? Let's do that for now. Let me know if that works for you guys. What's up, Versier? Thank you. Thank you. Now it's not like centered on something, so it's driving me insane. So let's move it so that it's at least level. Things I should have done before the show started? Yes. Things we didn't do before the show started? Also true. I know Eric was going to try to join tonight. I don't know if he still might. He has been not feeling great. So hopefully he can come in here. If not, then we will do this ourselves, and I will just win all the money by myself. All of it. So standard Josh Allen 101 in this. Again, this is cumulative scoring, so we're not looking to advance out of the first round for any new viewers. That's what I like about the best ball contest on Drafters. You're going to see names shooting up and down the board after each week. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. Yeah, Versier, we're just going to win it all. Why not? Why not just win all of the money? Jam out, hang out and chat, talk some strategy as we draft. We have the draft general in front of us. He goes with Barkley. You know what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Gibbs here because I'm sort of fine with any of the quarterbacks to come back to us. Taking Gibbs pretty much locks up that one of these two guys is probably gonna go Hurts, Amon-Ra. Hurts, AJ Brown would be my guess. So let's do Gibbs. So I assume the 6 hole is gonna just double tap Eagles here. No, he goes Henry. Henry Goff. Okay. Now we're going to have to make some decisions. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so this is really an interesting spot. That's not the way I thought this was going to go. Shit, I meant to grab. Okay, we just blew this entire draft. Just blew the entire draft because I clicked on the wrong name. Oh, we are off to a bad start. We are off to an absolutely horrendous start because I did not expect those 5 and 6 picks to go the way they went. Okay, I think we can still salvage this somehow. God damn it. I meant to grab Hurts there. I was going to play for a Detroit Philly NFC Championship game. Bring the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. What an absolute nightmare. Good thing we're doing more than one draft. Good thing. I'm so mad at myself. I usually don't make mistakes quite like that. Oh, so gross. All right, let's try to salvage this somehow. Let's go ahead and grab JMO. We're going to have to play this through the AFC side with the Detroit Super Bowl. I cannot believe I did that. We're here saying the Saquon plus Jalen drafter might have the only ticket in the whole thing. No, I've seen others. I mean, I don't know about. I would assume there's others. I've seen, not that it's overly frequent, but I've seen Saquon Jalen happen enough times. You can get into rooms that are very quarterback heavy, where 5 of the first 6 picks are quarterbacks, and then it can happen for you there. Okay. Let's grab Goddard. Go. We'll build out our NFC Championship game doubles. It's also important to note that there are tight ends in drafters. So you're getting 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. So it's a total of 6 starters. As you can see. 1-1-2-1. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go Chargers. Probably, but God damn it. I am so mad. I'm just so annoyed that I did that. Just such an absolute nightmare. And this whole draft is going a little funky too. Okay. All right. We're going to collect ourselves and we are going to fix this. We are going to fix this. And I think I know exactly how I want to do it. Okay. We are going to pull up Lad just a tiny bit. Make sure we get him. I have not seen a board start this way where everyone's kind of getting... Everyone kind of got thrown. The 5 and 6 hole drafters, I mean, not that they did anything wrong because they were just trying to set up Detroit, Kansas City, and Baltimore, Detroit was the theory there. But you just generally would be ready for one of them to take Hurts, AJ Brown. So it's not like they did anything wrong, but it just kind of, I think it just kind of threw a wrench in this draft a little bit. Okay. Let's do a little bit of scrolling. So let's just make sure we get Mixon. Oh, God damn it. Not what I wanted to do here. What am I doing? What am I doing right now? I need to take a water break. Why am I thinking Houston? What is this draft? Okay. How dark horse are the Broncos for you? I've only built out like Broncos once or twice for a team, like for like a Super Bowl team. They're a pretty big dark horse for me, but I just really don't like that they got Buffalo in the first round. Like, I think that's just I think there was a lot of pathways for them to get at least 2 games, but I think they're a huge dark horse, to be honest. I do think Buffalo is gonna probably, maybe they get a little pushback, but I think Buffalo is relatively gonna roll. But I do like Denver for late one-off pieces, whether it's to just get scores in week 1 if you're on drafters, or advanced pieces elsewhere. I think they're fine. Okay, we're just gonna have to build out like a really weird overall team. Kind of okay with it. I mean, all of our picks have been just like the absolute stone worst. But we're gonna get back on track. We're gonna grab Dobbins because that's who we were supposed to make sure we grabbed. I know we could have pushed him to this point and grabbed, like, I would have rather grabbed Nico and then grabbed J.K. Dobbins, but I was gonna grab Dobbins just because of how weird this draft's going, and ADP doesn't really mean much to me at this point. Building out the 4 charges that I wanted was more important to me. Let's grab. Let's grab Cup for now. Let's see. Let's look at some of these other teams just to kind of see what they're doing. So both of the bye week quarterbacks have already grabbed a second quarterback. We see Allen, Lamar, and Hurts are all on these other teams. In theory, we say, in air quotes, in theory, we should not have to really worry about getting Herbert as much. We do have 2 Detroit. We do have 2 Philly. We have 4 slots left. We have 2 Chargers. Okay. So with the 3 running backs, we have Dallas Goedert. Philly is the only full Super Bowl that we have at the moment because of the tight end position. We are going to play it. All right. Oh my God. Come on, dude. Come on. We're grabbing QJ there. What an absolute nightmare. Okay. Well, whatever. Let's grab just someone that can put some points on the board for us, maybe. No, let's grab Tim Patrick. So that's 3 Detroit players. We have Dobbins. All right. I don't care if they know. If they're going to grab a 3rd quarterback with Mahomes, Goff, and Daniels and Mayfield, then we just salute this draft. That's where we're at with this draft at this moment. God, what a warm-up. What a way to win $50,000. Tivo says words that I will read in 1 second after we get our next draft pick in. Just grab Herbert. I really don't know what this guy is trying to do out the 3 hole. He ended up grabbing a ton of AFC teams to go with his 2 Eagles. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to build out many Super Bowls. Maybe Philly, Baltimore. But I just don't know what he was going to do after that QJ pick. So we'll grab Herbert. It gives us 3 Chargers. No tight end for the Chargers at the moment, though. We have 3 Detroit players. We have 2 Philly players. I think we're okay. So Tivo said, my last draft, I built them the home stack with Detroit players, but forgot to draft another QB. Thankfully, I did it in drafters. Yeah. At least you can kind of make up some points there. Okay, the Lamar team just grabbed Jordan Love and Sam Darnold, so I'm glad we grabbed Herbert when we did. Wouldn't be shocked if that's an auto draft situation, to be honest. Let's see, likely go. See Andrews. So is there any LA Ram that makes sense? Not really. I'm just going to grab Disley. I just really don't want to blow this team at this point. And I think we can be fine with another wide receiver at the end. That could just be a whatever one-off. I think that's how we had to salvage this team, to be honest. Getting Pickens and Mims as your last 2 picks is pretty nice, depending on your team. I haven't looked at his full team. Maybe we want Matt Collins. Maybe we want to do some scrolling. Maybe we just grab DeMarcus Robinson. Make sure we can get a third team there, right? So we have Herbert with J.K. Dobbins, Ladd McConkey, and Will Dissly. We're going to be trying to get the Chargers to the Super Bowl with this team. We can pair him with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams for a Super Bowl matchup. We have Joe Mixon as a one-off for another running back. So we have 3 running backs. You can play a flex, so that's fine. We have A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert for another Super Bowl matchup where we'd be going double tight end for the flex position. And we also got 2 Ram wide receivers, so we can play another Super Bowl there. So I think we salvaged it. I mean, this is one of those long shot teams, but hey, sometimes when you mess up, it's to make sure that you're getting all your variations of teams. And I needed probably a little bit more Chargers in my portfolio anyways, so not the way I would have chosen to play it, even though I am the one who pressed the buttons. Don't worry about it. We're not going to discuss how much I messed up that draft, but that's where we're at. So we're going to do another one, and hopefully we get all the bugs out of our system with that, because geez, was that terrible. That was absolutely the worst. I can't believe how bad that was, how bad I just drafted there. I'm actually mystified. Absolutely mystified how bad that was. All right, so we're going to jump into another $20 here. Like I said, we'll do 3 to 5 of these. Maybe we'll try to shoot for 5, especially after that horrendous start. Jesus. Absolutely disgusting. All right, we're drafting from the 105. And got 4 out of the 6 from the last draft. We got Wydad at the 101 again. Bucks fan gets the 106 again. And we move over to the 105. A couple new names. We're going to try not to blow it this time. We're going to click the I am ready button, which is the button that never works because it usually gets the 5 out of 6, but I do love the feature. I love the tease that we might not have to wait the full 5 minutes. I don't know why, Dad. Why do you always get the one-on-one? Why do I never get it? I would like the one-on-one. I would like to shut my brain off and draft Josh Allen and then see what NFC teams I can pair him with. I would love that. That would be great. But no. I have to go and find a way to draft the Chargers team again or something from the 105. I also think that game, although I'm playing it from the Chargers side, more so, I'm only trying to play the Chargers like 60% and the Texans 40%. I think best ball drafters have just sort of locked up in their mind too much that the Chargers are winning that game. If I had to bet on it, I'm betting Chargers, but I just think it's very, very possible, easily possible, that the Texans can still win that game. And I like to play them. Not that I'm saying that I'm building them for Super Bowls, but playing them for 2 weeks is something I've been doing as well. So that was another thought there. We were hoping to get Eric in here. He's sick. I'm getting over being sick. I meant to change the colors on my lights. Maybe we'll do that after this draft. We'll do a color change of lights to try to summon the 101 and make sure Dad doesn't get it. So Gibbs goes 102 here. Amon-Ra goes. We're just not going to mess around. We're just going to take Hurts. Although, You know what? We're not going to take Hurts. We're going to take Barkley from the 105. But we're not going to mess it up. I promise you. I promise you I'm not going to screw this up. All right. We'll take Hurts. I was just looking at that as I could take Mahomes or Hurts if I took Barkley. So we just take Barkley. I knew you were going to double tap him, why, Dad? Oh, if I just got by you. If I just got by you, I could have got one of the receivers too. We're in shambles. We're in absolute shambles. Hoping to get a phenomenal Philly onslaught here. But why Dad does the right thing and just buries us from the 101. To be fair, that is exactly what I would have done in that spot too. All right, so Kelsey should go here, right? Kelsey goes right now, my guess. To Beef House. Beef House going with the Kelsey. Just take the Bills wide receivers. Yeah, 30 rounds later. All right, so he does grab Kelsey. We're going to grab Worthy. That's going to be our play here. Zay Flowers becomes an interesting piece with him not playing week 1. My dad, you know I'm not leaving him. You know it's not happening. Also, that's not even the pick you should make. You shouldn't make the Goddard pick there. James Cook went in the 4th round? I feel like a fish for not even noticing it, to be honest. Absolute fish move by me to not take James Cook there. The awareness, just not where it needs to be right now. See, I would only take one tight end if I were you. I would have only taken Kincaid, probably. I'm going to have to get Jesse to give me a bunch of his new music. He's been dropping new albums with a lot of really good stuff. All right, we are going to be coming back up on the clock here. I think I want Pacheco. I don't think I hate having both, excuse me, running backs for the Super Bowl. I already have Barkley to, anchor me. I get that other Kansas City piece. So I think we'll grab Pacheco. That can be our flex. And then he should be double tapping Hollywood and Hopkins if I don't grab one right now. So we'll grab Hollywood. That sets up our Super Bowl. I'm not usually a fan of having to go 6 straight for our Super Bowl matchup, but it just made sense for this team. And then we can kind of build through that going forward. I think I should have taken James Cook here, though. And if White had double taps tight end with Kincaid and Goddard, so be it, because getting Cook allows me to set up Buffalo Super Bowls, be unique by getting James Cook in the 4th round, paired with Barkley, Hurts, and Worthy, setting up a Chiefs Bills AFC Championship game. I mean, I can just take Calcaterra or, Noah Gray and Dawson Knox for my tight ends. It's probably the way I should have played it, I think, was the mistake. I think it's always important to point out your mistakes as you go as well. And I think that was a big one. But we notate it for the future drafts. Yeah, Versailles, that was the play. That was the play. Absolutely would have been the play for us to do that. But that's okay. We can still go Bills because we can grab Keon Coleman, which we will do. Might be able to set up even like a 5-man Super Bowl with another Bill. So we'll grab Coleman. We'll grab Nico for some 1st-round points since we have 2 Kansas City wide receivers. And again, we could get Houston for two games. And we're perfectly fine with that. And then we just hope that Nico gets to that 2nd game against Kansas City, puts up some points there. Totally fine. We survive, we adapt, we overcome. We notate our mistakes as we go. That is the way. That is absolutely the way. While we're getting back to our next pick. Oh, there's Eric. Eric, you are missing a doozy of a stream, buddy.
How's it going?
I absolutely blew the first draft. in a way I have not blown a draft in a long time.
I do that about every 3rd draft. I feel like is you set out for a goal and totally do not accomplish it. I have way too many Baker Herbert teams, and you're like, well, we donated this time, especially on drafters.
I wish it was a goal thing. I had a spot where I was the 104 and I took Gibbs at the 104, and I was planning because AJ Brown, because Hurts hadn't been drafted yet, so I just assumed one of the next 2 drafters was going to go Brown, Hurts, just like standard, which was going to leave me with Mahomes or Jared Goff, and they ended up not taking any of the Eagles, the next 2 drafters. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just set up the NFC Championship game. And I went to click on Hurts, and I clicked on AJ Brown instead, and just absolutely bungled the draft because, of course, the Barkley drafter takes Hurts next, obviously. So we ended up having to build out a Chargers thing. But yeah, absolutely bungled it.
It's rough. It's really, really rough when you, I think we talked about this. Sorry for everybody. I'm a little under the weather, so I won't be hanging around coughing in your ear all night. But we talked about, right, like you have to try to push some things sometimes. Like you have to try, like the easiest way to win, especially on drafters, is to get, a funky start, right, that nobody else can do. And one of the best ways to do that is to try to push things.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't go, like, I know you're talking about, you just made a mistake, but on the same hand, like on the same side of things, if you right, let's push Jared Goff. I try to push the Goff and Mahomes and some of that stuff sometimes to get and like it just never works, and you're so miserable. But like that one time when it does work is like that's it. You just unlocked everything you wanted to do for that draft. But it's tough. It's really really tough. And I've been trying to do a lot of the bye week teams, especially on drafters and especially the Lions. And if you ever push it, with the bye week teams and at the quarterback position, you might be taking the last kind of good, air quotes, good quarterback. So if you don't get them, like it's over. You lost in round 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Versaire is saying that we crashed the first plane. I don't think we crashed the first plane. I think as we were taking off, one of the engines went out, and we flew over the Atlantic with that engine out. We were really shaky throughout it, and we landed it. Just the plane was in, disrepair by the time we got it back on the ground. So we didn't crash. There's an interesting spot in this draft I want to show you as well afterwards.
Just really quickly, somebody, I forget what it was. It might have even been on one of my teams that I posted on social or something over the course of the summer, but said something about like they landed the plane, but they took off for Mexico and they ended in Antarctica or something like that. It's like that was such a good like witty way to put it. Is like, technically, right? Okay, the Chargers go to the Super Bowl or at least make it to the third weekend. Like technically, right? That plane has been landed. It's not where anybody ever wants to go. That was not where you intended to set out for.
Yeah. So we're gonna finish this team up we're just looking for first, second round points. So we're just gonna grab Mims here. Actually, let's grab Mac Hollins, and we'll build out another Super Bowl variation with Philly is the play, because we have 2 Buffalo Bills now with Keon Coleman and Mac Hollins. We do have Barkley, Hurts, and Goddard. And I think the other way to play it is to just go ahead. What is this guy gonna do? Oh, this guy, I can't say it because this guy. God damn it! How do I get mad about Dawson Knox getting sniped? All right, that's fine. We can do a 5-man Super Bowl with Buffalo, and we'll just take the upside of Mims here. Or do we grab Dotson?
I mean, I have a non-zero amount of Dotson, so I can't.
We'll do Dotson.
I can't complain. I like what you did here. Something I'm doing a lot on drafters is, again, using the bye week teams, right? But it's like secondaries. Sometimes it's a primary with Goff or Mahomes, but like just attaching those guys on there, knowing that as my team weeds out, right? Then it's like, sure, I don't love Worthy and Hollywood and Nuke and all that kind of stuff, but they're alive in the weeks where like I know Pickens isn't. Right. So like I'm taking Sutton, but using Sutton. Sutton is strictly a please get 20 in this weekend. And you're useless to me. But then you pass the baton to Hollywood. You pass the baton to Amon-Ra. It's like using those, like blending my pieces like that. I'm trying to do a lot with, right? Pickens makes sense. Sutton makes sense. Mims, QJ, whatever.
Yeah,
all those guys.
All those guys back there. I think that they're undervalued for that reason. Whether it's on drafters or advanced rate situation, those are guys that I'm looking for those types of teams. So this team is a Philly, Kansas City Super Bowl, and also we can do a Philly Buffalo Super Bowl. We got Hurts, Barkley, we have Dallas Goedert and Jahan Dotson for Philly. We have Pacheco, Worthy, and Hollywood Brown for Kansas City, Keon Coleman and Mac Hollins. So those are our Super Bowls, and then our one-off get us some points is Nico, Cooper Kupp, George Pickens. So not too terrible. The spot that I want to show you is as this draft went on, right? We have Barkley fall to us at the 105, which I think is the easiest pick on the board there for a guy that I'm not getting crazy overweight on, because when you get him at the 105 and Hurts hasn't been drafted, you can now just pair him with any of the 3 quarterbacks. You can do Hurts, you can do Mahomes, you can even do Goff and just play for the NFC Championship game there. So you're fine with however this plays back to you, right? I mean, Mahomes went before. So we could have gone Hurts or Goff, and we're fine, is my point. We get Worthy, and because we have Hurts Barkley, the Eagles receivers fall to the second round, the 101. God damn, I cannot talk today.
2-3 turn, yeah, at the
2-3 turn. Thank you for the Buffalo stack, and that sort of sets up this thing where, if you look, you don't even notice it, but James Cook falls all the way to the 4th round here. And I didn't even notice it on the board. I grabbed Goddard, and I think that my one mistake with this draft is I could have gone James Cook here, and if Wydad snags Goddard and Kincaid, that's fine, because I can just prioritize Noah Gray and Dawson Knox as my 2 tight ends late. I'm still setting up a really good variation of a Philly Super Bowl, right? I mean, we don't get any of the receivers that we want, but we do have Barkley and Hurts. We could play it through 4 Chiefs and 4 Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
I think that's another thing people do too much of, where once they get the quarterback, they always think that they have to have 3 or 4 pieces from that team.
Right.
And I think sometimes you can play it where you have Hurts, AJ Brown, and play it through 4 Buffalo Bills, if that's the way you wanted to do it.
They're cheap. I think your point is like one of the most important ones for definitely for drafters. I'll hop in this one with you. We can do one. Is that 4 out of 6 for you?
Yeah, you want to wait?
Maybe I just hit join. One more. Go.
Do we get it? I think we got it.
Looks like it. Hooray. Okay. But your point, like, you can build so many different permutations of these kinds of teams, and everybody, right? I took Hurts, so I got to have AJ Brown, or I got to have Devonta Smith, and like there's a bunch of ways that you can still get the receiver production, and like, who is to say just because Jalen Hurts, right? The reason why you're drafting Jalen Hurts is honestly for Jalen Hurts. Like, I'm not saying you don't want AJ Brown, or you don't. I want those teams too, but I don't want every Jalen Hurts team to be like, well, I gotta have AJ Brown, and I gotta have Devontae Smith, and I gotta have Dallas Goedert, right? Or the flip side, when I do Mahomes, I have to have all the Chiefs wide receivers. Like, no, not really. Like, you can have other guys score points, and your Chiefs just kind of come. It's like, you may not use a Chiefs wide receiver score until the Super Bowl, like maybe the conference finals. Like, you can figure out ways to get your points elsewhere, again, especially on drafters, where like I think I see a lot of people screw it up, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but like the opening weekend, like, you can use these guys who are gonna go away, and they can get you your Chiefs, right? Yep. How do you if Washington wins, right, or the Chargers win, you can get 2 games from Ladd McConkey or 2 games from Terry McLaurin. Right, you can use these guys to get into your Chiefs, Lions, or the Bills wide receivers suck. How do you get to the point where they're relevant for your team? It's like these other ancillary pieces that'll help get you there.
Yeah, I agree. I also think, to the Eagles' point, something that I wish I've done a little bit more, not a ton, but I think that point you bring up about every Hurts team having AJ Brown, I think a lot of them do. And I think Smith is just kind of getting lost in the sauce on Hurts teams a little bit too much. And I think on occasion, just pulling Smith up, because, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, there's the ADP doesn't matter a ton in these things like they do in the other drafts. So I think that a flaw I've had this year is not that I have 0 Hurts Devonta Smith teams. I have them. A lot of times they are when I'm lucky enough to get that double. And I think I need to make sure that I'm looking to get the Devonta teams with Hurts, even if it means to pull them over AJ Brown occasionally.
Yep. I agree. Let's see here.
We're going to grab Hurts at the 103.
Let's see what the rider got rolling here. Sync one. All right, I'll do Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs is the right play there.
I like I've been moving Gibbs around the board. I moved sick. I really, honestly, one of the big things I tried to do is like I'm not really taking crazy stands on honestly just about anybody, but I move a lot of these early guys around the board just to get right. Take Gibbs at the 101. Now you're gonna get. You don't have to like do any crazy reaching or anything like that. You're gonna get a unique Gibbs team because you took him at the 101 instead of the 104 or 105 or whatever.
Okay.
So theoretically, Goff or Mahomes should come back to me here. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna take Henry.
Yeah.
And try to right. So theoretically, theoretically is the key word. It doesn't always work. Theoretically, Jared Goff should come back to me, and I can get Detroit still.
How do I want to play this? Let's just do what I was talking about. The only reason why I hesitated is because of how far down I am. I thought maybe grabbing Brown, there would be some shot of me getting Smith on the comeback on this team. But there's another player I'd like to get here as well if he gets pushed. So we'll try a few things here. And there's another situation here that I like to set up. So I'm kind of fine with whatever happens here.
This one's going about according to expectation. Man, let me tell you what. Everybody talks about like all the players who it's the noise that's true. It gets me sometimes too. And people talk about like, oh, we should have got in earlier because Puka has risen like 3 rounds or what have you, right? And that's true. You really like your teams that you drafted, like the Rams and stuff earlier. But like Mark Andrews, to me, is the guy who like it's nice when the room plays. When everybody stays in their lane, that's nice. But when Mark Andrews is like, assuming obviously you're on the Ravens, but even if you're not, like a minimum of like 2 games out of Mark Andrews, no Zay Flowers on a site where you have to have a tight end is like amazing. It's like absolutely amazing. See, this spot I hate.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get Laporta here.
I know. I wanted Laporta. I'm going to take so I've been taking some Puka again, even at this price. Because I know I'm going to have probably some pretty weak. I'm going to have, I don't know, Tim Patrick on this team or whatever, Hollywood Nuke, Tim Patrick, Keon. I'm going to have some crappy wide receivers, but on good teams. I'm obviously betting on the Lions in the Super Bowl, but I don't have Amon-Ra or J-Mo. So I'll use Pukas of the world to like, even if it's 1 week, right? Even if they lose to Minnesota, it's okay, because I'm passing it off to whoever, the Chiefs guys or the Bills guys or whatever.
I'm just trying to think through the draft.
I also hate this. I hate this range. It's all bad fantasy players.
Yeah.
It's not like Aaron Jones is like fine, but like Aaron Jones, like, what's he going to get you 15, right? In a good week or something like that. Like you're not really excited about anybody that is around. And so I'm just like scroll down a little bit. Right. And that's why I'm trying to get funky, but like, I'm not forcing if I don't want Khalil Shakir, right? Like why? Well, Khalil Shakir's not going to score more fantasy points than, if I bet if this team needs the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, cool. If I don't, like scroll on down a little bit, right? To, go get your Goddard, go get your Hollywood, go get your Ladd, whatever your flavor is. Cause this whole tier this is where the ADP is like lying to you. You know what I mean? Because it's just team dependent. It's like usually the Vikings guy is here taking this guy, usually the Josh Allen guy like takes Kincaid. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to,
Right. I also think Shakir in particular is probably the worst pick on the board.
It's not
he's
based
on where you have to get him.
He's
like I like Shakir. Like he's fine, but 4th round Shakir, man. It just, I did not think that Goddard would go there, but that is fine.
It's all because he's the best bill, the non James Cook. Like people just click, they're like, I need a bill. I know Shakir is the best one. That's not James Cook. So people just click it, right? They don't care.
Right.
I'm gonna do.
We got Drafters Fantasy in the chat. What's up, Drafters?
Awesome. See, this is the sweet spot. The old Nico, Evans, Ladd, and I'm gonna do Terry. Just get my week 1 and hopefully 2 games of upside from those wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll start, now I'll start putting together my conference finals, Super Bowl, etc. Because I'm not expecting any of those teams to get there, but that's what the Lions and Chiefs and Bills and everything are for. Our guy from Drafters is going to give away a ticket, so I'll let you handle that because as soon as this draft is over, I'm gonna pop off, but I'll let you take care of that.
How do we want to give away a ticket?
Anybody watching, if you want to do just make a Google sheet or something real quick, that's what I would do. That's what I used to do. Just have everybody enter their name in the first column of a Google sheet or whatever, copy paste them onto oh shoot, I forgot I was in another draft. Oh shoot, good thing I had a queue.
We'll grab D-Hop.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Everyone getting their Drafters t-shirts.
That's fun.
That's pretty sweet.
That is fun. I kind of like Zay on this team now that I'm building. I need later in the playoff wide receiver upside. I already bet on Henry, so we'll just turn it into Lions. I can turn it into Lions Ravens.
He's really interesting for the drafts now with him being ruled out this week.
And he's free falling. Right?
Free falling.
I mean, this is the 7th round. I understand, right? He's like a bye-week player that doesn't get the benefits of not playing this weekend. But like, I don't know, man. If he's back next week and you're getting right, like this is the week it's easiest to replace production, right? Like, look, I like you have already Devontae Smith and Addison going to add some more guys that are going to score points in week 1, I'm sure, right, over the course of your draft. I have Puka, Nico, and Terry McLaurin. That's my wide receivers and my flex. Like I don't need Zay Flowers score this week. They all project for more points than Zay does anyway. They project higher, right? So like getting these, getting a Zay Flowers that's 7th round, like in the 40s on team. Again, you don't just do it to do it, but on teams where he makes sense, he's just a smash, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Now though, I hate this spot. I'm just gonna go ahead and do Daniels just because I don't.
So he's my favorite to pair, obviously, with the other guys, but 1 second, because I am on the clock.
I do a bunch of while you pick. I mix and match whoever I pair with my bye week quarterbacks though. Daniels is my preference. He's also just the most expensive. And so sometimes there's real opportunity cost to taking Daniels, right? Like I took him over Mixon, I took him over Dobbins, I took him over Jalen McMillan, right? I took him over Justice Hill, whatever, Jaden Reed, Cortland Sutton. Like I took him over guys who, like, you may have a team like you need that dude. You know what I mean? Like you need Sutton or whatever. This team doesn't, so I have the freedom to take him a little bit here. But there's a lot of times where the opportunity cost of Daniels, you don't realize it. Like you get to the end, you're like, boy, I hope QJ has another 30 ball this week because otherwise I'm cooked. if I don't get the big QJ game in, it's like, well, you could have just waited and taken Herbert and you could have got, Terry or something instead of taking Daniels.
All right, here's what we're going to do to give away the ticket. If you're in the chat, put in the number. Just put in your drafter's username.
Oh, username. There you go.
And you have until the end of this draft to put it in the chat.
Perfect.
And I will add you to a list and we will spin a wheel. So get your name in now and we will spin the wheel live right after the draft. As I draft, I'll star Kareem Hunt. That way you guys have some time. Also give me your social security number, sign over the title of your car to me, and give me your house. And you can get a $20 ticket to Drafters.
Did you see, one of the bots or whatever commented on our on a video that I did on one of the shows recently on YouTube, and that's they were like, some crypto. They're making it into the YouTube comments now.
Yeah,
and that's why I pulled the same. It was one of my better. Damn, I really needed Ertz on this team. That's painful. No, I forget what I was even going to say. Oh yeah, but I was like, yeah, absolutely, right. I'll help you out with your Coinbase account. Just shoot me over your social. Your mother's maiden name, and let's let's get this thing squared away. Okay, I do need some.
I like that Drafters is trying to win their own.
Drafter support. That's so funny. Nuke went too. All the. Damn.
All right, let me make sure I got everybody here so far. Wydad was the first one.
Justin Watson, baby. All
right.
Oh, Steven is putting in his application. He's trying to even get you. Like, here's my username.
Oh.
Also, I love your content.
Love your content.
That's a smart man right there. You accidentally entered his name twice into the.
It's in there 10 times right now. All right, let's draft Gainwell. All right, so we have a Philly thing going on with Minnesota, and we also get the Kansas City game as well. We'll add some more fun stuff in the last two pieces.
If DeRuyter didn't take Ertz there, this team would have been sick. Fun fact about Zach Ertz. I know it's gross, right? Nobody ever feels fun with it. In PPR, he projects for the most points of any tight end this weekend, and he's freely available. And they might win, right? There, it's basically you could get 2 games out of Zach Ertz for free, and he is currently the highest projected scoring tight end of round 1 in PPR, which of course Drafters is. Half PPR is a little different, but that son of a bitch is still scoring touchdowns, dude. I mean, shoot, they're worse. He's genuinely one of the best picks in the world. Obviously, he doesn't fit every structure. You got Mark Andrews or whatever, like no big deal. But you push it at tight end at all, and like you said, use Noah Gray, Dawson Knox, whatever. You're using some cheap, crappy tight end as your like Super Bowl, your Super Bowl conference championships. Ertz is such a good guy to pair with those guys. Of course, I didn't get him on this team, but it would have been a pretty awesome team if I did. So I have to play for fucking Dalton Schultz now.
I think that the most underused team, like people think aren't going to advance, is the Texans. But I think best ball drafters for some reason don't think that Washington's going to advance either. And I think both teams are super live to just win their games easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to use that to my advantage on a bunch of drafts. It doesn't mean I'm only drafting them and not drafting their, the Chargers or the Bucks, but my God, like the spread in those games are minuscule for the most part.
The only thing people love more than money and sex is praise and recognition, Steven says. I like that. I'm stealing that. Consider that one stolen, brother, because that's a great That's a great quote. This is definitely true. Nolan says the irony if Ben Sinnott has a good playoffs. It would be ironic. It would be very fitting as someone who drafted 0 Zach Ertz in the regular season and drafted and now I'm taking all the Ertz. Like he's going to be probably one of my higher owned players across all the sites. And so yeah, I'm sure Sinnott will somehow put a fork in me.
All right, let's go over your team, my team, and then we'll spin the wheel. So this is your last call to get your name in. You have currently a very good shot at winning a $20 ticket. Yeah, make sure you like the stream as well. If you don't like the stream, I'll hunt you down and I will take $20 out of your pocket. So make sure that you like the stream, throw your name, your drafter's username in the chat. After I go over Eric's team and my team, we will spin the wheel and then we will do one more draft is the way we'll do this. And I have one question before you leave after we spin the wheel. I have one question for you.
Of course.
All right, so Eric went with Gibbs, Derrick Henry, which is such a fun running back pairing that you don't always get to get. Was
what
able
an
to
idiot. Doesn't this guy hate running backs? Who is this fucking guy?
Because of that, he's able to push Goff to the 3rd round. So he gets his Detroit stack there. He gets Puka, Nico, McLaurin, Zay Flowers, Jaden Daniels, Noah Gray, Justin Watson, Dalton Schultz, and Nelson Aguilar.
God, tight end. It was close. This team was close, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about Justin Watson. He was just screw it. I'm screwed because I wanted Ertz, Noah Gray right there. And that let Ertz play for the first 2 weeks, right? That's the theory of this team. Ertz gets 2 games. So I'm only using Noah Gray's score in the 3rd, in the conference finals and the Super Bowl, which then of course changes, right? Like the Aguilar pick probably becomes Juju or whatever. But anyway, it was close. It was pretty close. It's not a perfect team or anything. Again, I think when you look at Jaden Daniels, like I'm totally fine making that bet. That's also why I wanted Ertz. Like I can really maximize getting 2 Daniels, Terry, Ertz games, which this team needs. Some wide right. I need Puka, Nico, or Terry, or all to win, so that they can get 2. So I can get 2 games and then pass the buck right to Zay and these shit bums, Watson, Aguilar, whatever. It's just a tight end is a little rough. Going to need 2 Dalton Schultz good games, which is probably not very likely.
Yeah, the big thing for you is when we were in the 3rd round here, when he takes Jefferson, if his pivot is to go Minnesota and just take Hawkinson instead of Laporta.
Yep.
Right. I mean, obviously you get Puka there, but I think that would have been.
Puka wasn't even necessary on this team. It was because I didn't get Laporta.
Right. So I think that was where that would have been amazing. But I think our teams are telling 2 different stories. Your team, we might see this team at the top of the leaderboard after the first week, right? And then you're going to try to hold on. Yep. Where my team, it's Hurts, Devonta Smith, Kelsey, Aaron Jones, Addison, Hawkinson, DeAndre Hopkins, Keon Coleman, Hunt, Gainwell, George Pickens, Marvin Mims. I'm trying to be stable that first week, and I'm just trying to rise up the board as we get into the Super Bowl with this team. So 2 different styles that can both work. And
the perfect and what you have a better chance of doing than I do is just having good weeks every single week. Whereas, right, like you said, the whole point of this exact team that I've put together is hang on for dear life in the last in the finals. But that's okay if you hit the nuts for 3 weeks. Especially for the first 2 weeks, you hit the nuts. You hit all the big games, right? Puka, the this year's Gabe and Jake Ferguson, they're on this team, and so I don't need Amon-Ra. I got Gibbs, right? Gibbs, Henry, Goff, and we're kind of good. Like they're gonna keep me out front. But what you really want when you set out, like I like the Lions a lot for this, is you can beat if you draft, like let's say Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Goff, you're able to get that. To start, or it could be JMO too, right? It could be Laporta, whatever. You get 3 of the premier Lions. That's the best way to be out to a huge, like you could be at the top after week 1, and the Lions are taking you home the rest of the, especially at the end. Again, the Lions have to make the Super Bowl for that but we just assume that's the case. They make the Super Bowl and you have right like Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra around. So if you take out Henry of my team, maybe you have, maybe Bucky gets you through, or Mixon gets you through, or Dobbin, right? You just use that round one, or that Aaron Jones, whoever, Kyron. There's a bunch of running backs you just say have a big game for 1 week. I don't care, because I just need to get it to Gibbs in the next round, and like you can still get the Nikos, Terrys, right? Et cetera, all onto that Ladd, Sutton, whatever. You can get out of the gate strong still with some wide receivers, and they can pass the baton, right? And then maybe you can dip in and out of Hollywood or Keon Coleman, or those different guys, depending upon what pairing you want for the later rounds. It's what I've been trying to do a lot of, to find the exact middle ground of what you're trying to say. Like I want to get out hot, but I don't want to have to peter out like this. Like this team is for sure petering out. I want to find a way that I'm still scoring a bunch of points, because that's how you can really take the whole thing down.
Yeah, and you have guys on this team that are so capable of putting up 40 burgers, and that outscores people that make it to the Super Bowl for their 4-week cumulative total, right? It just, you get Nico, who goes absolutely nuclear, Puka goes nuclear, and even if they don't make it to the second round, it's like, okay, they didn't make it to the second round, but I got 80 points between Puka and Nico. I still have Zay Flowers coming back. I have McLaurin, stuff like that. You can build these teams like that as long as your team is telling a story, right? Like that's what matters. It's when your team just has no story to tell is when I get a little bit worried. Let's do the wheel spin real quick.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to hit Paul's question.
Sure.
How often do you settle for 5 players in the Super Bowl? Obviously, on drafters, there's only 6 roster spots in total for the Super Bowl, and I would say it's not that big of a deal. The most important thing is to get the most points added to your team over the course of all 4 weeks, not necessarily adding Brock Wright and praying he gets 1 catch for, right? You could win without a tight end score or whatever in the Super Bowl, and that's probably what my team is banking on. Or without, a wide receiver score or a flex score or something like that. You can win on drafters without it. Now you got to hit all the nuts, guys. So I'd be intentional about how, I want to make sure I've got the Pukas and the Nikos and the Buckies and those guys on those teams where I don't have a full Super Bowl, because I need the spikes. But I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary. I would like it, right? The goal is to have a full 6, but I'm not going to go out of my way for a really, really bad fantasy asset like I would on a draft or a DraftKings or an underdog, where like I need the full roster to win the tournament. On drafters, I don't think that's the case.
All right, we are going to spin the wheel. This is my Sicko Sunday wheel for when we do giveaways on the Sicko Sunday show, which will probably be back in a month or two with draft starting to release. So be on the lookout for that, because that's always a laid back, fun time. We don't mess up as many drafts as we have earlier tonight. Also, this carved muffin name, just make sure that I just wrote it as is. So if it's an A and not an S, I know those are right next to each other, let me know in the chat, and that way I can let drafters know if you win. We are going to spin the wheel now. Let's do it. The wheel is going around and around and around it goes. Who's it going to stop on? Nobody knows. It looks like King of QC is going to get the $20 ticket. Congratulations to you. We will let drafters know that you were the winner. I'm going to type it in the chat so that I know. And don't forget. And there we go.
I can't believe Steven didn't win.
Rigged. Absolutely rigged. My question to you is not best ball related. I just want to know what you think about the college football game tonight. Do you have a thought on who is going to win that game?
I'm rooting for. I'll start with this. I'm rooting for Notre Dame because I don't particularly like Penn State. I'm not a Notre Dame fan. But they got some guys that I like. I'm very, as everyone knows probably by now, St. Louis biased, and there's kind of a St. Louis pipeline to Notre Dame. Don't like Penn State. Don't like Penn State's head coach. Don't like Penn State's history. We don't got to get into all that, but some dark times with the Penn State football program. But I'm anti. I know this is like weird because Notre Dame is like one of the biggest names in football. I'm just so anti the power conferences, like the SEC and the Big Ten. I hate, like, they're basically like eventually, right? They're gonna probably just like freaking start their own college league or something because they don't want to play with the Boise's of the world and the mid major. So I'm just very anti those teams. I do though kind of like Notre Dame to win this game. I want to see. I haven't been paying attention. Like I said, been a little under the weather. Penn State's superstar defensive end got hurt last game, and then he's already a Drew Rosenhaus client. This is the change in the college football landscape is still a real shocker when you see an NFL agent talking on ESPN about a college football player, right? That used to, like, teams used to get in so much trouble, right? If that kind of thing happened. Now it's like ESPN's having the guy on to talk about him, but was basically saying, he'll play if he's healthy, but he also was basically being like, he's injured, so he's not going to play injured, but he's tough. He'll play if he can. And so he's a big deal, right? That's when a college football player, you remove a top 5 pick in the NFL draft from a college team. That's a big deal. So I need to check on his status, but I'm on the Irish.
All right, cool. I may throw some American dollars on that. I don't like Penn State because we around here had a friend who went to Penn State, and he was...
Why?
Dude, I don't know, but
why would someone from where you're from go to Penn State?
Nobody knows. But I refuse to ever watch football with him again, because when we would watch NFL games, not only would he just talk about Penn State, whenever a player did something, he would just say their college. So if Hurts like dropped back and ran, he would be like Alabama, or like just name any player. As soon as he like does something, he would just say Jalen Hurts, Alabama, or this player, this school, this player, North Dakota State, which is like cool that you can name every school that they went to, but it's fucking obnoxious when it's happening every 5 seconds. So
yeah, if we're all doing it, right? This is the there's been many a TikTok that have gone viral about, all dudes really want to do is sit around naming, random obscure former athletes, right? That's like what we do. But like, it's only fun if we're all participating in it. If we don't want to do, right, if we're all hanging out to watch the football game and none of us want to do what school did this guy go to, right, or name a former infielder from the Big Ten, a former safety from the Big Ten when his first name starts with A, like, if nobody wants to play that game and you're doing it, you're an asshole. Stop. Right, like, we're not playing this game. You're playing by yourself. Go fucking home and play it if you want to play this game. I'm just trying to watch football.
Just trying to watch football, man. That's all I want to do.
If Drew Aller is the one, watch Drew Aller tonight and tell me if this ain't a bad quarterback class, because he's gonna go in the first round probably, and he fucking sucks. So, we'll talk plenty about the rookies. I'm starting to get pretty excited to dig into all the rookies and stuff for the big board. But watch the game tonight specifically for Drew Aller is one of the air quotes best, right, quarterback prospects in this class, and he's terrible. He is terrible. We ain't drafted any of these scrub rookies. Shador, none of them. Cam Ward, no thank you.
We're probably gonna get boxed out of Eagles on this team, but I just couldn't pass up clicking Hurts with Derrick Henry.
Did you share your screen?
Oh, I didn't even share my screen, did I?
No.
Forgot what we were doing. Forgot what we were doing here.
I know I'm on cold and flu medicine, but I'm pretty sure I didn't see a team in front of me.
Yeah, that's my bad. We drafted out of the 106, and the draft started with Allen Lamar, Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Barkley, and I got to get Hurts with Derrick Henry.
That's fun. Got to take the funky combo when you get it, I think. And don't sweat the Eagles wide receivers too much. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They pretty much never fall back. But oh my.
Oh.
On that note, I think that's my sign to get out of here. I'll leave you to discuss the Allen drafter taking Mahomes out of the 101, and Sam Laporta That is an interesting team. I can't wait to go back and watch this and see
See how that turns out.
How it turns out. I will say to everybody listening, assuming I continue to start to keep feeling better, gonna do something tomorrow as well. I don't know what time yet, but I have some interesting stuff around some of the things that I was talking about before with like the projections for round one. I want to pull up because I think there's some interesting stuff that people, like I said, the Ertz little nugget is that there's a lot of those kinds of situations where there's some really good plays. I think we can find ways to get some sketchy teams through, right? Whether it's a bunch of Lions, both bye teams, Chiefs, what have you. So I'll be back tomorrow, but peace, guys. Have a good rest of your show with Rob, and he's going to draft the winner here, it seems.
Let's hope so.
Oh, God.
Let's try to figure it out.
All right. Cheers.
All right. Later, man. All right. So let's grab Worthy and let's grab Goddard. Would have been really nice to get Devonta Smith to fall back to us here. The 5-hole does go with Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. We'll just grab Goddard. Sort of a tough spot for him because he does get walked out of the quarterback with Mahomes going to the Allen drafter. So it makes it all, very, very different. Very different. But we will persevere. We will overcome. That is what we always do. And I'm just seeing what time Notre Dame starts. It's 7:45. Start time for that game. And we will try to build probably another Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City team. I wasn't planning on doing Hurts this draft, but when I can get Hurts Henry, it's just something I want to lean into a little bit. And I think there's so many different ways to play that I'm fine with doing it. So there are two teams that kind of get boxed out of quarterback on this draft. There's another one that goes Allen with Mahomes. So that might really alter what happens in this draft a little bit for certain people. Mix the board up a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. And we will change our song as well. It's amazing how everyone's coming in or getting sick. I meant to change my colors again, and I didn't. God damn it. All right. Well, let's just keep them since we have green and purple, and we're drafting Philadelphia and Baltimore teams. Everything happens for a reason. Zay does make it a little bit more difficult if you are drafting Baltimore and Kansas City guys. Because again, as Eric pointed out, it's like he has at least a 1 week bye, theoretically. I think I'm okay with it though. So I think we're just going to grab Zay and we're going to grab Nico. And we're going to sort of build this team as best we can with some of the back end pieces, probably. So we start Hurts, Henry, Xavier Worthy, Dallas Goedert, Zay Flowers, Nico Collins. Getting that Hurts Henry start just to have something a little bit different. Would have been amazing to get Devonta Smith to fall back to us. I think that that Mahomes grab really kind of messed us up, because if for some reason the 103 passes on Mahomes, then it goes to this drafter, although he might try to push it knowing that I have Hurts. So it just becomes a big game theory thing at that point. So we have 2 Eagles, 2 Ravens. Just keeping an eye on that as well. Very cool of drafters to jump in the chat and give a ticket away. That's awesome. We had people using the sign-up code the other night on Tuesday, which was sweet. People jumping in to do the drafters. And again, 90% of my drafts for the playoffs have been on drafters. I've been hitting a lot of that $3 tournament that's still available. Still plenty of room in this tournament to jump in. It's cumulative. You're not dead after the first week. You can draft Chiefs. You can draft Lions comfortably. You can make teams that way. It's a little less stressful to not have all your teams wiped out after the first week, which does happen, but not on drafters. We get to play. I wanted McLaurin there. That's what I really wanted. I think we're going to grab Cup. I think that's going to be a play. I actually think we're going to grab Kyron for a second RB. We might grab Kyron. Let's grab Kyron and Likely. And try to have 2 RBs for the flex. We have Goddard for the Super Bowl, Likely for the Super Bowl. Done. And we're just going to hammer wide receiver to finish out this draft because we have Worthy, Flowers, Collins. So we only have 1 healthy wide receiver right now. We need 1 more Eagle. We have our Baltimore pieces. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. Mostly going to play this for a Philly-Baltimore Super Bowl and just try to load up on all the other pieces to have as high a score as possible and not try to set up a second Super Bowl team on this team is going to be the play. Shout out to everyone watching. Glad we were able to get 4 of these drafts in tonight. As Eric said, we're looking to do something tomorrow night as well. Jump in the drafters streets. Jump in the Discord and share some of your teams in the drafters channel. And we can either discuss them or dunk on them, whatever you want to do. DB Bets is asking if I'm doing any $3. I've been doing a lot of the $3. I'm not doing them on stream tonight. I did $3 on stream 2 nights ago. This is my last draft of tonight. We're going to call it a night. After this, maybe watch the Notre Dame game while I work on some other stuff, or go watch a movie. Debating on what to do afterwards, but it will be something productive. It will be something productive. Yeah, Bucks fan in our draft again. All right, so the Goff team grabs Herbert. I like it. Mayfield is here. Kind of got locked out. Tough spot. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone. I don't know. Maybe they got some plans. We're going to grab Pickens and QJ. Looking for some week 1 scores here. So we're shooting for some upside picks right there. What's your biggest strategy changes on drafters versus underdog, with obviously this being total points? I think this is such a cop-out answer, but when you're looking at drafters versus underdog, you just really have to be cognizant of the tight end, and I think it allows you to build some better teams that way. I haven't built them tonight, but I try to build, depending on the teams I'm taking. It's tougher to do with Philly, and that's the team I've been drafting tonight quite a bit. But when I'm drafting Baltimore or when I'm drafting any of the three big AFC teams, I've been building those as either 4-2 Super Bowl teams or 5-1 Super Bowl teams. And I'm not saying you can't do that on other sites, but you really got to be cognizant of how you're doing it with the tight end position. So my biggest change there is trying to do like more overload Super Bowl teams from the AFC side than I do on other sites, and just trying to get all of that. So like when I'm Buffalo is so easy to do it with, the Ravens are relatively easy to do it with, and the Chiefs you can do it with relatively easily as well. It's a little more difficult to do it with Detroit and Philly, who I think are the big two. If you believe in Minnesota, you can do it with Minnesota. But I'm trying to sort of overload to 4-2 or 5-1 my Super Bowl matchups, and making sure that I'm one-offing like 3 teams. Like if you're doing the 5-1 approach, so if you have 5 Ravens, I'm just trying to make sure that I one-off a Detroit player, one-off a Philly player, and then maybe a Minnesota, a Ram, something like that. And then it just falls where it falls. We're going to grab Dotson one more time, and we're going to grab Romeo Doubs for more week 1 points. So we'll grab Doubs, we'll grab Dotson. Our team is Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams. We get the Hurts-Henry matchup, which not a lot of people have in these tournaments as much. Xavier Worthy, Zay Flowers, Nico, George Pickens, Quentin Johnson, Romeo Doubs, Jahan Dotson, Dallas Goedert, Isaiah Likely. Obviously, the big problem on this team is a lot of these players could absolutely die out after week 1. But we wanted to take the chance to get the Baltimore Philly stuff through, so that is what we're doing. I am about to have an absolute coughing fit, so we are going to call it there, guys. I appreciate everyone joining us. Make sure you sign up on Drafters. Use the promo code SPIKE. We will catch you next time. Peace. As I try to find my outro video. Guess what? There it is. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.